In 2010, David Haye revealed he wanted to be out of boxing by this time next year. This was just before he fought Audley Harrison. He insisted there will be no deviation from the plan. It's always been my intention to retire before my 31st birthday, and I plan to stick to that. I want to get out of the sport with my faculties still intact, having achieved everything I set out to do. He said once he achieved all his goals as a professional, the final goal was to be the unified heavyweight champion after unifying the cruiserweight belts. He said what's there left to achieve? He said he sees a lot of aging legends refusing to pack the sport in. I don't want to be one of these boxers that hang around too long and becomes a shadow of their former self. I've seen too many examples. Roy Jones Jr., who should have retired after defeating John Ruiz in 2003 to win the WBC heavyweight title. He said Jones had already won titles in 4 divisions and was the pound-for-pound best fighter in the sport. He had nothing left to prove. Instead, pride got the better of him and he moved back down the divisions and ended up getting horribly knocked out multiple times. He's still scrapping around today trying to grab onto past glories. There are loads of examples. At this time, Haye intended to follow the Lennox Lewis blueprint. That was his main aspiration when he walked away after defeating Vitaly Klitschko in 2004, I believe it was. He said Lennox got out in time with his title to his name and his faculties still together. He retired on top as world heavyweight champion with nothing left to prove. Haye said at the time he turns 30 next week. So this gives me 12 months to achieve exactly what I want to achieve in the sport. He wanted to defeat both Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko before he called it a day. And that plan will never change. He said, I know a lot of people don't believe I'll stick to my word, but I've never been one to sway away from my plans. If I make a promise, I stick to it. I won't be like Bernard Hopkins and keep pushing the deadline back or just forget it altogether. I feel this timeline gives me enough time to achieve what I want to achieve in the sport and also help get me out at the right time. I've done a little research with the help of the Bleacher Report. They had this article of fighters who retired with 30 bouts or less. Now, Haye currently has 31 bouts, which he's amassed in 15 years as a pro. But let's not be rigid, and let's say, around the 30 fight mark either side. The article had guys like Edwin Valero and Iber Borshi. But in all truth, they didn't retire. They were derailed. Suicide and mental health. James J. Corbett didn't have more than 20 odd fights. That's the first Queensberry Rules heavyweight champion. Jeff Harding, former light heavyweight champion, who had a great trilogy against Dennis Andrews from the UK, he had 25 fights. He lost his belt to Mike McCallum and retired, age 30. Ingemar Johansson, he retired, aged 30, with 28 fights, scoring 17 KOs, knocking out Floyd Patterson to become heavyweight champion. Corbett retired at the age of 37. We go to guys like Sugar Ray Leonard. He only had 40 bouts. It's not a lot of fights. And in that time, Ray made 2 ill-advised comebacks, one against Terry Norris and the last one against Hector Camacho. In fact, I can count 4 retirements on Ray Leonard's clock. He retired early in 1982 after defeating Bruce Finch because of retina damage, which was said to have been administered at the hands of Tommy Hearns in their classic welterweight fight, which Leonard won. He came back and fought Kevin Howard in 84. By this time, Ray Leonard's resume read like this. He took the scalps of Thomas Hearns, Ayub Kaluli, light middleweight title, Roberto Duran, Wilfred Benitez. He was already an ATG at this stage of his career. He came back in 84 against Kevin Howard, like I said, and was floored by Kevin Howard, but he got up to win in 9 rounds. He retired straight after the Kevin Howard fight, saying he doesn't have it no more. Kevin Howard was a gatekeeper. This all but finished all the talk of a super fight with Marvin Hagler at the time. But he did come back in 3 years' time and outpointed Hagler in one of the great comebacks of boxing history, quite frankly. He was probably really feeling himself by this time, having come back twice already and getting away with it. But he chanced his arm too much and he lost to Terry Norris. He was floored in the second and seventh round and was battered by Hector Camacho, floored and stopped in 5 rounds in 1997, and that was the end of Ray's career. What do you want me to tell you? Where do you want me to start? Joe Louis, he retired after defeating Jersey Joe Walcott in the rematch. Still champion. He came back, lost to Ezra Charles, and took part in a few more fights. All wins until he was knocked out by Rocky Marciano. Marciano retired 49-0, never returned to the ring. Perfect record. Same number like Floyd. Joe was succeeded by Ezra Charles, a great fighter who fought on way beyond his years and found his health deteriorated through boxing past his prime. He ended up wrestling, just like Joe Louis ended up wrestling, which is the ultimate humiliation for a heavyweight champion, because especially in them times, the heavyweight champion of boxing was such a prestigious title. For you to have to be a wrestler is horrible. There are a few exceptions like Primo Carnera, the mob-controlled fighter. He became heavyweight champion. He knocked out Jack Sharkey. The mob apparently robbed him dry of his dough. He became a wrestler, and apparently he was very successful as a wrestler. Very successful. Muhammad Ali, his pro career started in 1960 up until maybe 1980. I haven't got the exact date where he lost to Trevor Berbick. But he retired in 78 after avenging the Leon Spinks loss and becoming the first man to win the title 3 times. But the law of the ring brought him back. His ego, he took on the WBC champion, Larry Holmes, who defeated Ken Norton, who was given the title because Spinks opted to fight Ali, then his mandated challenger Norton. Can't blame Spinks, it was a massive purse. Ali offered little resistance and he was stopped for the first time in his career. He had one more fight after that against Trevor Berbick and lost again on points. It's unlikely Ali could have passed medicals anywhere in any state in America with any credibility. So they held the Berbick fight in the Bahamas and somehow he passed the test. It was said he couldn't even touch his toes properly and his hand and eye coordination was all about the place. He was slurring. The first signs of Parkinson's were evident, but there was a lot of people who was eating off Ali. Ali himself had a massive ego. Great fighter, but massive ego, which he had to feed. Ray Robinson, I don't have the timeline. I heard as early as 1951, he attempted his first retirement after regaining the belt from Randy Turpin from Britain. Turpin himself is another story, you know. He ended up as a wrestler. He ended up working in a scrapyard from being the middleweight champion and one of the best fighters this country produced, and ended up shooting himself, committing suicide and trying to shoot his own daughter. Tragic stories. Yeah, as early as 51, Ray tried to retire. I believe he retired after he lost to Joey Maxim when he tried to win the light heavyweight title. That was in 52. I don't have the timeline. There was another stage where he ventured into other forms of entertainment. He was dancing. He set up a dance troupe, I guess you'd call it. That wasn't very successful. He ended up back in the ring despite making a fortune from boxing. His career began in 1940 and he didn't retire until 1965 with Alzheimer's. And yes, he wanted to get out of the game, and these are his own words of what he thought of boxing.
Robinson let it be known that he found no bliss in boxing.
Thank you.
You give me the impression that you rather enjoy your work, is that right?
No, just the opposite, Ed. I've never enjoyed boxing. It's just a business with me, and I guess I know I've never enjoyed it. It reminds me of the old, something barbaric, when two people get in a pit and they throw money at them and they fight.
Impart some wisdom, as I usually do, or try to. Retiring from boxing is no different to stopping smoking or stopping drinking or any vice that is becoming detrimental to your life. It's no different. And the problem we all run into when we want to stop these vices, I guess boxing can become a vice, is that we start prepping for the grand departure. Like, I've seen some of my friends try and stop weed, and they say, yeah, man, I'm just going to go out this weekend, or I'm just going to buy this 8 for weed. You know, you're going to get the greatest strain of weed, and, you know, you're going to have a great smoke, and you're going to have photographic memories of this smoke. And it's a nice thought to have it play out like that, but it won't. More often than not, it won't. Your best bet is to buy that drawer of weed and give it away. Or just don't buy it at all. If you buy it, it's to give it away. Yeah. It's like having kids. There's no ideal time for most of you who have kids. It happens and you have to deal with it. There's hard work parenting. It's hard work stopping smoking. You have addictions. You have routines that include your smoking or whatever you're taking. All right, I drink a beer after dinner. I drink a beer then. I smoke at lunchtime when I'm working, or at break time. I smoke here. I meet up with this guy and we smoke whatever we smoke here. It's routines. These have to be replaced with something else, with structure. The only thing you're going to do by having that last smoke, for the most part, is increase your want to smoke. That's what you're going to do. You're going to make your receptors crave it even more. If you've just been knocked out as a boxer and you're thinking, well, you know, we saw Paulie and David Haye get knocked out. Well, I'm going to have one last fight and go out with a win. Well, you go and do that. Let's say Paulie lost to Sam Eggington, who is domestic level, and now he's looking to see what he can do on the world stage. If Paulie is to have one last fight in Brooklyn and say, okay, I'm going to call it a night after that, and he has to fight a guy even lower ranked than Eggington, and he beats him with ease, what satisfaction is Paulie really going to get out of that? That's what he has to ask himself. Now, there's a possibility that he might just be happy with the W and say, yeah, I won my last fight and I'm out. But Paulie is a 2-time world champion. Paulie is from Brooklyn. There's a certain mentality. Paulie would like to have that W with the Sky cameras or the Showtime cameras showcasing the fight. He doesn't want to have to fight some guy who's ranked about 2,000 on whatever ranking system you look at. He doesn't want to do that, you know, in some obscure location where the only footage of the fight is on an Android or something like that. Who wants to end up like that, really? No one. No one really wants to end up like that. And let's say he comes back to the UK again and they give Paulie another shot on a pay-per-view against the similar ranked fighter as Sam Eggington. And let's say Paulie does win and looks good. What happens then? You gonna walk away, Paulie? Nah, man. Did Paulie look good, man? Paulie look good. You see that movement? I reckon that movement would give Danny Garcia trouble. He might even be a test for Errol Spence coming up. Yeah, it all starts again. People start gassing you up and you're gassing yourself too. There's no ideal time to bounce. There's no ideal way to stop smoking. There's no ideal way to stop gambling or any of these vices. The hard work has to be done. You have to take it day by day. Like I said, it has to be replaced by structure. Frank Bruno's biggest battle was when he didn't have that structure of somebody phoning him. Yo, Frank, can you at the gym yet? Yeah, you need to be here, Frank. That's his trainer. Then his agent phones him. We're going to open this gym here. We've got some work for you doing this commercial. Road work. 8 o'clock in the morning. Sparring. 2 o'clock. It's a regime. When he didn't have that no more, he got himself into a whole load of trouble. Boxing can institutionalize you. All of them boxers say they're not going to repeat the same mistakes as their predecessors. All of them. All of them have said it. Floyd doesn't want to end up like Roger. He doesn't. He's talking about fighting Conor McGregor. I don't care how unskilled or low of rank Conor is. That's not the... See, that's what you guys are missing. Oh, well, Beats is one-sided. You see, that's not the point. You're missing the point. And if you don't know what the bigger point is, then you're just not good at listening and processing. It wouldn't matter if he was fighting a 15-year-old kid who only had 2 amateur bouts. It wouldn't matter. It's putting down the process of preparing for a fight or walking the planet every day in fighter mode. That's what the problem is. Turning down the payday. That's what the problem is. It's easy money. It's easy work, it's easy money. That's what the problem is. Putting down the routine that you're so used to, the adulation, the respect you get as a prize fighter. That's what the problem is. David Haye is a mercenary. And I actually did believe that David Haye would be one of them guys who would make his money, walk away, and not miss it. But you could never tell.
Let's go, champ!
You just don't know how the fortunes are going to twist and turn in boxing. You just don't know. Shannon Briggs was almost dependent on David Haye for a payday. David Haye got Shannon to fight on one of his cards at the O2. The card did very well. Shannon fought on the card on the proviso that he would get a fight against David Haye at the O2. David wasn't true to his word. Shannon looked like he was in no man's land. All of a sudden, he was offered a title shot against Fraser Quendo. And, you know, he could become champion of sorts for the third time. Who knows? You know, people have a short memory. From Shannon's last retirement, when Ian John Lewis let him get pounded by Vitaly Klitschko, where Vitaly was defending his WBC heavyweight title. Shannon was in hospital for a week, allegedly. A week if I remember. Apparently, I don't know if it was the hospital bills, but he ended up taking that beating for nothing, literally. He ended up with nothing from that fight. He tried to work a regular job. He got depressed. Then he decided to get himself in shape. He got back in the ring. And here's where he's at now. With his catchphrase and his world title shot. Fortune favors the brave. Good luck to the guy. I hope he wins. But will he know when to stop? Bellew was saying he can't put himself through too many more fights. He wants to get out soon. He secured his kid's future. He kept reminding us of that. He wants to get out soon. Will he know when to get out? David Haye just signed this deal with Richard Schaefer, Haymaker ring star, selling out the O2 Arena, talking about bashing up Anthony Joshua. I'm the best heavyweight. I'm the fastest, the most explosive. He was threatening to do all types of damage to Bellew. Did you hear him at the end of his interview? I was going to say begging, but that's sensationalizing what I'm saying here. So I'll just say, did you see him asking Bellew for a rematch? Yeah, it's all up to Bellew. He's at the behest of Bellew now to see what his next move is. You just don't know with that sport. You just don't know with that sport. Will Haye return to the ring? How many more fights will Bellew have? Erickson Lubin looks sensational. We saw two top welterweights in a unification. I guarantee you, if we stay with the Barclays Center card, in 10 years' time, one of you is going to be making a video saying either Lubin or Garcia or Thurman need to retire. One of them, maybe two, maybe all three. Could even be in less than 10 years. Who knows? The hardest part about boxing, no, it's not the shoulder roll, no, it's not taking a punch, no, it's not the road work, no, it's not the politics, it's the exit strategy.